Over 3.5 million immigrants live in California. But starting March 2026, many of them could face unexpected denials when applying for citizenship or permanent residency. New immigration rules are being quietly rolled out, and most people haven't even heard about them yet. But if you've ever used public assistance, had a gap in your work history, or missed a tax year, you could be at risk. What's really alarming is how fast these changes are coming. These new policies won't just affect new applicants, they could also impact people who have lived here for 10, 15, even 20 years. Some residents may suddenly find themselves in legal limbo, unable to get the rights they thought they were just months away from. And it's not just about paperwork anymore. Digital records, biometric IDs, and AI based screening tools are now part of the system. So, what's really going on behind the scenes? Why is California tightening its rules now? And more importantly, are you or someone you love at risk of being denied, even after years of building a life here? In this video, we're breaking down the 10 most critical reasons why citizenship could be denied under California's new 2026 immigration rules and what you can do to protect your future before it's too late. Number 1. Incomplete or unfiled tax records. You might think missing a tax year or two is no big deal, but under California's new 2026 immigration rules, that could be the exact reason your citizenship application gets denied. Tax compliance is now one of the top red flags immigration officials look for when reviewing your history. Even if you've paid your taxes in recent years, a single missed filing from 5 or 10 years ago could raise questions about your eligibility. What's changed? In the past, occasional lapses were sometimes overlooked, especially if the applicant had a solid work history or family ties in the US. But now, with automated systems cross checking IRS records, state databases, and your immigration file, every gap counts. And if your name shows up with any unresolved tax issues, it could delay or even permanently block your application. This includes misfiled returns, incorrect social security numbers, or unreported income, things that might have seemed minor before. So, what can you do? First, request your IRS tax transcripts, not just your tax returns, to get a full picture of what the government sees. If there's a gap or error, consult a tax professional or an immigration attorney immediately. Filing late is better than not filing at all. And if you've worked under the table or had inconsistent income, now is the time to get everything documented and make things right. Don't let a missing form from years ago be the reason your American dream gets denied. We work hard to bring you these deep dive updates. All we ask is one quick favor: hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. Tell us, did you ever miss a tax year? And did you know it could cost you your citizenship? Number 2. Long gaps in employment history. It might sound surprising, but having long gaps in your employment history, especially without a clear reason, can now raise serious red flags during the citizenship process in California. Under the 2026 immigration updates, your work history will be more closely scrutinized than ever. This means if you've been out of work for extended periods, your application could be flagged as potentially non-contributing to the state's economy. But here's where it gets tricky. It's not just about having a job. It's about being able to prove that you've been active and contributing, even during periods when you weren't officially employed. Maybe you were caring for family, taking classes, freelancing, or volunteering. Unfortunately, if those efforts weren't documented, Adi, it could look like you've been inactive or disconnected. And that's a problem in the new system. With digital systems now cross referencing your employment, tax, and benefits data, large unexplained gaps could be interpreted as a lack of integration or even a misuse of public resources. It may sound harsh, but that's the reality facing thousands of applicants starting this March. So, what can you do? Create a detailed timeline of your last 10 years. Include everything: side gigs, online work, unpaid internships, anything that proves productivity. Attach certificates, emails, or even references from people who can vouch for you. Immigration officers are trained to look for signs of effort, and documentation is your strongest shield. We put in countless hours researching and verifying this info. All we ask in return is one small click. Subscribe now and comment below. Have you ever had a long gap in work? What was your reason? And do you have proof? Number 3. Criminal records. Even minor ones. Think a small mistake from your past won't matter? Think again. Under California's 2026 immigration policy updates, even minor offenses like shoplifting, a DUI, or a misdemeanor from years ago could now be grounds for citizenship denial. The system no longer distinguishes between serious and petty crimes the way it used to. Every mark on your record gets flagged, and in some cases, even charges that didn't lead to a conviction are being reviewed during the naturalization process. Here's why this is dangerous. The process is becoming increasingly automated and unforgiving. AI systems and background check tools are now being used to scan court databases nationwide, not just in California. That means an old offense from another state, or even a dismissed case, or you could be interpreted as a red flag unless it's properly documented or expunged. And many people don't even realize they have something on their record until it's too late. But don't panic. There's a way forward. First, request a copy of your full FBI background check and state level criminal record. If there's anything there, consult a legal professional immediately. In many cases, minor offenses can be expunged, sealed, or reclassified, especially if you've kept a clean record since. And make sure you're upfront in your immigration interview. Trying to hide something will always look worse than being honest. Remember, the system isn't just checking who you are now, it's checking who you were then. Show them how far you've come. We research these updates so you don't have to. Your support keeps this channel alive. Tap that subscribe button and share in the comments. Do you think old mistakes should still count against someone trying to build a better life? Number 4. False or inconsistent application. Information. It might sound unbelievable, but one of the most common reasons people are denied citizenship under the new California immigration rules is because of small mistakes. Things like a misspelled name, a different job title listed, or inconsistent answers between paperwork and interviews. In 2026, these inconsistencies are no longer overlooked. Instead, they are being treated as potential fraud, and that could cost you everything. Why is this happening now? Because immigration officers are now using AI-driven systems that compare your application to dozens of databases: tax records, DMV files, employment history, even your old visa forms. If anything doesn't match, your application is automatically flagged. And unfortunately, most of the time, these issues are just honest mistakes, not intentional lies. But in the eyes of the system, accuracy equals honesty, and even small errors raise suspicion. It could be as simple as listing a different start date on a job than what your tax form shows, or saying you worked full time when your pay stubs show part time hours. These aren't lies, they're lapses in memory. But if you can't explain or prove them, they may see you as untrustworthy. Here's what you can do: review every single document you've submitted in the past: green card applications, visa forms, work permits, and make sure your current information matches exactly. Keep a timeline of major life events handy during your interview and rehearse your answers. Being prepared is not about tricking the system. It's about protecting yourself from a system that's become more rigid and technical than ever before. This video took hours of research to get right. We hope it helps you. Click subscribe and tell us in the comments. Have you ever noticed a small error on your immigration paperwork? What did you do about it? Number 5. Overuse of public assistance programs. Here's a tough truth. Even if you legally qualified for help, using too many public benefits could now raise questions about your citizenship eligibility under California's updated 2026 immigration rules. While the state has long supported access to healthcare, food aid, and housing programs, the new screening systems are flagging applicants who appear overdependent on public assistance, especially when that use isn't balanced with employment or tax contributions. What does this mean in real terms? If your record shows extended or repeated use of programs like Medi-Cal, CalFresh, food stamps, or Section 8 housing, your application might get flagged for public charge review, a term used to describe immigrants who may rely too heavily on government aid. And even though California is more lenient than federal standards, the systems are now linked, and what's seen as acceptable at the state level may still raise red flags in the National Immigration Database. But don't let this scare you into thinking you've done something wrong. Many people used assistance during hard times, especially during the pandemic. The key is context and documentation. If you've returned to work, reduced your reliance on benefits, or have a plan showing financial progress, that's what officers want to see. They're looking at your trajectory, not just your past. Tip: keep records that show when you entered and exited public programs. If you've had support from non-profits or church groups instead of state programs, include that. And if you're still receiving aid, then work with a legal advisor to prepare a strong explanation that highlights your efforts to become self-sufficient. We create these videos to inform and protect people like you. Help us keep going. Hit that subscribe button and share below. Have you or your family used any assistance programs in the past? Were you ever told it could affect your immigration status? Number 6. Unverified digital identity. Imagine this. You've lived in California for years, worked hard, paid taxes, and followed every rule. But when it's time to apply for citizenship, your application is delayed or denied because your digital identity couldn't be verified. That's not science fiction. In 2026, it's becoming a very real hurdle for immigrants across the state. With the rollout of California's digital ID verification program, the citizenship process is now tied to new technology. This system checks your biometric data, address history, social security number, and even online records to verify your identity. If your information is incomplete, mismatched, or hasn't been properly uploaded, your file could be automatically rejected before a real human ever sees it. What's worse, many people don't even know they need to opt into the digital ID system, It's not automatic. And if you've recently changed your name, moved homes, or updated your employment status, the risk of a mismatch jumps dramatically. The system prioritizes consistency, and unfortunately, even a small discrepancy, like a different middle name or missing apartment number, could be enough to derail your progress. Here's what you should do now. Check your DMV records, Social Security profile, and any state issued identification. Make sure everything matches exactly. Enroll in California's Verified Digital ID program as soon as it becomes available in your area. And keep copies, physical and digital, of every record you submit. In the new system, your paper trail is your lifeline. And we dig deep into policies so you don't have to. If this video helped, show some love. Subscribe now. It takes one click. And let us know in the comments. Have you checked your digital identity status yet? Did you even know this was a thing? Number 7. Gaps in physical presence. You may have lived in California for years, maybe even decades, but if you can't prove it, you could still be denied citizenship under the 2026 immigration updates. The new policies demand more than just a lease or a utility bill. Now, immigration authorities want detailed evidence that you've been physically present in the US continuously, especially during key time periods tied to your application. This isn't just about major absences, like traveling overseas for 6 months. Even frequent short trips, especially if undocumented or poorly recorded, can trigger red flags. The system now tracks travel patterns using border entry logs, flight data, and even phone location history in some cases. If the data suggests you've been spending extended time outside the country, or if you can't prove otherwise, your file could be delayed, questioned, or outright rejected. For many applicants, this is one of the most frustrating and unexpected barriers. You might have left to visit family, care for a sick relative, or handle an emergency, but without proper re-entry stamps, travel records, or explanation letters, those absences could now be misinterpreted as abandonment of residency. So, what can you do? Start gathering everything now: boarding passes, passport stamps, travel itineraries, even photos or emails that prove where you were. Keep a detailed travel log going forward. And if you've had longer absences, talk to an immigration lawyer about how to prepare a waiver or explanation in advance. And this channel runs on passion and purpose, and your support keeps it going. Subscribe now with just one click and comment below. Have you ever taken a long trip outside the US? Did you keep records, or are you scrambling now like many others? Number 8. English language proficiency. Here's something many people don't expect. Failing to communicate clearly in English, even just during your interview, can now cost you your shot at US citizenship. California's 2026 updates to the immigration process include stricter enforcement of the language requirement, and the standards are rising fast. If your answers aren't clear, confident, and consistent, officials may label you as not fully integrated into American society. That sounds harsh, right? Especially considering how many hard-working immigrants speak English as a second or third language. But with more interviews being recorded and reviewed for quality checks, sometimes even by AI tools, even small misunderstandings can be taken the wrong way. A nervous stumble, misheard question, or unclear answer can make it seem like you don't understand the laws and responsibilities of citizenship, even when you do. The worst part: many people assume that just living in the US for years means their English is good enough. But the interview isn't casual. It's formal, fast paced, and full of legal terminology. That's why so many people are caught off guard and denied for what could have been easily prevented with practice and preparation. So, what should you do? Don't wait. Take free ESL classes at local libraries or community centers. Use online tools and apps that simulate real interview questions. Practice with friends or mentors. And if you qualify for a language exemption due to age or disability, make sure your paperwork is ready. Then your voice is your power. Don't let fear of speaking English hold you back from your future. We pour our hearts into these videos to help people just like you. Support us with one simple click. Subscribe to our channel and drop a comment. What's been the hardest part of learning English for you? Vocabulary, nerves. Let's talk about it. Number 9. Lack of community integration. You've worked hard, paid taxes, maybe even raised a family in California. But if you haven't shown signs of being actively involved in your local community, that could now work against you. Under California's evolving 2026 immigration rules, immigration officers are starting to look at more than just legal paperwork. They're examining your connection to the community as a sign of how fully you've embraced life as a future citizen. What does that mean exactly? Things like volunteering, attending local events, joining parent-teacher associations, faith groups, or community programs. These are all viewed as signs of integration. If your record shows you've been isolated or disconnected from civic life, especially if combined with other flags like unemployment or benefit use, it could create the perception that you're not fully invested in becoming a long-term part of the community. This may sound new, but it's part of a growing trend toward evaluating the whole person behind the application. Officers may ask, have you made an effort to contribute? Do you show up for your neighbors? Are you building something here? And if the answer isn't clearly backed by real life involvement, your application could take a hit. So, what can you do? Start getting involved now. Volunteer at local food drives, join local Facebook groups or community centers, or attend public forums or workshops. Keep proof of participation, photos, email confirmations, or letters from organizers. You don't need a fancy title to show you care, just consistent presence and contribution. If this video gave you clarity, motivation, then or even a small aha moment, help us reach more people. Click subscribe and share in the comments. What's one way you've contributed to your community that you're proud of? We'd love to hear your story. Number 10. Failure to meet new employment criteria. Here's something few people are talking about. In 2026, even having a steady job might not be enough to guarantee your path to citizenship. Under California's updated immigration policy, officials are now looking deeper into where you work, how you're classified, and whether your employer meets new compliance standards. If you're employed by a company that isn't E-Verify registered, or if your job title doesn't match your visa category, your application could be at risk. That's right. It's not just about whether you're working. It's about whether that job is fully verifiable, properly documented, and in line with your immigration status. With more systems being interconnected, from IRS filings to employment records, any inconsistencies between your paycheck, tax documents, and job description could trigger delays or even outright denials. This affects thousands of workers, especially those in gig economy jobs, cash-based industries, or small businesses that may not be up to date with the new regulations. Many people don't even realize their employer isn't registered properly until they're sitting in front of an immigration officer trying to explain why their W-2 form doesn't match their visa category. What should you do? First, check if your employer uses E-Verify, a system that confirms your eligibility to work in the US. Make sure your job title and duties align with what's been officially reported. And if you've been paid in cash or without a contract, it's time to gather as much documentation as possible: letters, pay stubs, even screenshots. In 2026, proof is power. Then, if this video helped you feel more prepared, please help us in return. Just one click to subscribe makes a big difference. And in the comments, tell us, is your job officially verified? Or are you now wondering if it could affect your future? So there you have it. 10 real reasons why California's new 2026 immigration rules could result in citizenship denial, even for long-time residents. From missing tax records to gaps in employment, unverified digital identity to community involvement, these rules are stricter, more high-tech, and less forgiving than ever before. And the most unsettling part? Most people won't even realize they've made a mistake until it's too late. But here's the good news: knowledge is power. Just by watching this video, you're already ahead of the curve. Now you know what to look for, what to fix, and what to prepare. While there's still time, don't wait until March or assume you'll be safe, because you've done most things right. The new system is built on data accuracy, digital verification, and inconsistency across every part of your life. And small errors can have big consequences. If this video opened your eyes or made you realize there are things you need to fix, take that seriously. Talk to a legal advisor, check your records, and start documenting everything. The American dream is still possible, but now it requires proof, preparation, and persistence. We'll keep updating you on changes that matter, not just what's trending, but what affects your life, your future, and your family. You're not alone in this journey, and we're here to help guide you through it step by step.